What's good, Destined Ones? Today, I want to talk about every single spirit in Black Myth Wukong. There's 54 spirits in the game, and we're going to start off with the first 17 from chapters 1 and 2 that you can find. This is going to be a full-blown series breaking down all the locations where you can find these spirits, as well as their kill conditions, their special effects, and everything you need to know so you don't waste your materials. Let's get straight into it. You're going to need a Knot of Voidness in order to upgrade all the spirits in the game. And it's going to take you at least 3 to 4 cycles to get every single spirit to max, which is kind of impossible, and a lot of people are not here for that, including me. That's why I'm creating this video, so you don't waste your materials. There's 4 spirits that you can get in chapter 1. That is going to be Wandering Wight, Baw-ling-gahl-lang, Guangmou, and the Wolf Assassin. Let's go in order. The first one you're going to be able to find is going to be the Wandering Wight. The Wandering Wight is probably one of the best in the game. This thing has an equipped effect that significantly increases your defense, and it has a massive attack stat, especially if you have a decent attack stat yourself. Because if you have something like 200, 300 attack stat, and you use this thing basically after a cloud step or after an immobilize, the damage that you can get out with Wandering Wight is absolutely insane. It's one of my favorites personally, and it's definitely an S tier spirit in the game. You're going to find this in the very first area of the game. The shrine in question is going to be outside the forest shrine. Walk forward, go past both the bridges, and continue along the main path. You have to walk exactly past this wandering boss to move on the main story, so you can't miss it. Let's talk about the second spirit that you can get in chapter 1. That's going to be Baw-ling-gahl-lang. This is the frog spirit. Now, you're going to need to collect all 6 frogs in this entire game in order to get this mythical frog, Baw-ling-gahl-lang, which is one of the best spirits in the game as well. He's about an AS tier spirit. He's able to do fire damage, poison damage, ice damage, lightning damage, as well as one more stone howling, something that we don't really want in our life, RNG damage, but yeah. He's pretty amazing nonetheless. You're going to find the first frog right here in this chapter. It's going to be after you find the bamboo groves, the snake trial shrine. You're going to move along the main path, run past the snake in this area, hop off the ledge, and head over into this swamp over to the right. Right in the back, he'll be sitting there waiting for you. Once you attack this man, some other frogs are going to be in the area. Go ahead and slap all of them up. Collect your amazing new young spirit, and make sure you're on the lookout for the other frogs in the future chapters. This frog guy is pretty cool. His equipped effect is moderately reducing the stamina cost for jump and jump attacks. The next spirit that you'll be able to get is actually a mini boss on the main story path, which is Guangmou. Guangmou, when equipped, will moderately increase poison damage and poison resistance. This is also an S tier type spirit in the game, and it's going to be doing one of the highest poison damages that you can possibly get out of some of the spirits, so it's a good look. This has a ranged ability of snakes that pop out the ground and spit venom at the enemy, and when that poison bane gets going, it's going to do an amazing job. Some enemies can be completely destroyed by Guangmou by themselves, which is pretty cool, but you're definitely going to work alongside Guangmou to get the most out of your attack stat and to take down enemies fairly quickly. He's one of my favorites. He's very powerful, and you definitely don't want to miss out. The final spirit that's in this zone is going to be the Wolf Assassin. This is actually easy to miss. He's going to be just before you fight the final boss of the chapter 1 zone, up at Bodhi Peak. Usually when you run all the way to the peak, you'll be running past a bunch of ranged enemies, so you're rushing this entire area. What you're going to want to do is, from Bodhi Peak, go ahead and turn around, head down the stone stairs, and go all the way across the plank bridges and this kind of like balcony area. You're going to look off the edge, and just in the distance should be a chest. Hop down, and then you're going to be attacked by a random wolf assassin. That is going to be our spirit. This spirit, when equipped, will slightly increase your critical hit chance. In the opening or beginning of the game, if you want some critical hit chance boost, this is great. but I definitely wouldn't waste my materials on this for endgame. Because there's such a limited amount of Knot of Voidness in each cycle, he's great for early game, but you don't want to be spending your Knot of Voidness on something like this when you have better options like non-able much later. Let's move on to chapter 2. So in chapter 2, you have 13 amazing spirits in the game. The 13 spirits are going to be Earth Wolf, Rat Archer, Second Rat Prince, the Swift Bat, the Rat Imperial Guard, the Tiger Acolyte, the Rat Governor, Spearbone, Poisestone, Gored Daoist, Mad Tiger, and finally the Civet Sergeant, as well as one more frog, which is going to be number 13. Remember, the frogs in this zone give you a tadpole. You're going to have to get all frogs in each chapter in order to get Baw-ling-gahl-lang, so don't miss out. You're going to start off by grabbing the first frog in the zone. As soon as you hop in after the cutscene of you getting those arrows magically yanked from your chest, luckily, you're going to go all the way to the back of this swamp zone. You're going to look down in this pit, and there is going to be your lightning frog. Go ahead, beat that guy up, and as soon as you finish beating him up, you're going to get 2 items. The first item is going to be a tadpole. The other item is going to be something you need to give to Zoodog to progress Zoodog's story. Very important, so don't miss out on that. The closest shrine is probably going to be the village entrance. Now let's continue on. The Earth Wolf. The Earth Wolf is the first major spirit that you're going to find in this zone, and this spirit is guarding the Horsesquai. The Horsesquai, if you found him in chapter 1, is going to be tied up on a pole over in the gazebo area, and he's going to be screaming. You can't miss him, but you're going to have to take down the Earth Wolf first in order to talk to him. The Earth Wolf is pretty decent. He has a mid recovery rate, solid 2 to 4k damage because of his little spear attack, but he's not something that I was really that interested in when I first got it. When you equip him, he grants a small amount of additional focus on hit, which can be useful, so he's not useless. But when it comes to upgrading the spirits in the game in endgame, I don't think you want to waste too many materials on this one. Moving on from there, extremely close by, as soon as you open up the gate, will be the Rat Archer. The Valley of Despair Shrine is very close by to this guy, so as soon as you open up the gate, you'll basically have this dude trying to attack you. He's going to be the one that's under the blue fire effect, so go ahead, snatch his life. His equipped effect will moderately reduce the stamina cost for staff spin. I mean, if you're into staff spinning, that could be pretty cool, but he's kind of average at best. Now, his DPS is solid damage. It does do a little bit of scorch, so it's not off the table, and it is a ranged option. So it's not a bad thing to have in the early game, especially if you need a ranged option, but it's not one of my favorites. However, when you're running around Black Myth Wukong, there is a limited number of spirits that actually can fight from range, so it's not a bad choice nonetheless. Dealing solid damage from multiple attacks can be useful in early game, so it's up to you whether you want to use it or not. Personally, there's going to be a lot better choices later on, but in the beginning of the game, you might want to use this. Next is going to be the Second Rat Prince, and you have to be careful about what you do when you kill this foe. For example, the Second Rat Prince has 2 enemies that will fight you during the boss fight. It's going to be the Father and the Second Rat Prince himself. If you kill the Second Rat Prince first, the Father will run off. You forfeit the spirit, so don't do that. You have to kill the Father first, which is the small rat, and then the Second Rat Prince will enrage. When he enrage, he basically like emerges his spirit, which then after you kill him, then he will become your spirit after the fight is over with. You will also receive a special flesh that you will use in order to continue this quest line, so don't worry, you don't miss out. But if you end up killing the Second Rat Prince first before taking out the Father, you're going to have to go into your New Game Plus run just to try this again, so be very careful. If you're having trouble to get the Father down off the top of these pillars, all you have to do is hit it with a heavy attack, or if you already have it, you can use Wandering Wight to break the stone. Once you break the stone and he falls down, go ahead and beat that man up, and then take him out before you take out the Second Rat Prince. Good luck. The equipped effect for the second Rat Prince is moderately increasing attack when your health is low, so that could definitely come in handy, especially in the early game. Moving on, let's talk about the Swift Bat. The Swift Bat is right inside of the cave going towards the main path. You can't miss him because you're going to have to go this way in order to get to the Tiger Crouching Temple. But that being said, you're going to run straight into the Swift Bat. He's going to fight you. He will be able to boost your stamina. Stamina recovery is going to be moderately increased when you equip him. Pretty awesome. He also has a decent attack, but it has an extremely short range. So it's up to you whether you end up using this in early game or not. In endgame, absolutely not. There's a lot better options for you. But in the early game, when you need something that kind of gets you out of the way, throws a couple of shurikens at the enemy, gets some good DPS in, this could be an option. Moving on from there, we have the Rat Imperial Guard. The Rat Imperial Guard equip effect moderately increases focus granted from perfect dodges. This can have some amazing synergy with some of the armor in the game, which could become useful. However, it's still kind of mid when it comes to the actual attack that it gets off, and the short range on this attack is kind of limited and lacking, so I don't really like it as much as I like some of the other options on this list. It's not useless, but it's kind of weak, so it's up to you whether you end up using it or not. Me, I wasn't about to waste my Knot of Voidness on this thing in my first couple of runs of the game. So guys, let me know so far which one of these spirits was your favorite and which one did you actually use during your playthroughs. But let me know down below and smash that like button. But let's continue on. You're gonna see this guy as soon as you hit the Wind Rest Bridge area. You cross the bridge, you go over towards the gate, and he'll be guarding it. Alright, that is going to run you straight into the Tiger Acolyte. The Tiger Acolyte is a very important spirit in this game because he is going to lead you into a side quest that's going to get you another spirit. So don't forget about this guy. You're going to have to take this guy out after you've crossed the Windrest Hamlet Bridge and he's standing there guarding it. Once you defeat him, you're going to receive a drum in a couple of locations later on in this guide to unlock the area for the Mad Tiger. Anyways, the Tiger Acolyte is actually extremely decent. I would say it's A tier when it comes to damage because that single instant attack that it can do is pretty devastating. When equipped, it moderately increases critical damage and it's a decent spirit for early game, even mid game. So you can kind of use this, especially if you're just doing it for that crit damage. Now, after you've taken down the Tiger Acolyte and you've collected that drum, you're going to move on to the Rat Governor. Make sure you snatch up the Stone Vanguard's life because you're going to need the Stone Vanguard's special key item to open up the cellar. The cellar is going to lead you into a location where you will find the Civet Sergeant a little bit later on. So go ahead and beat the mandatory Stone Vanguard and take that item so that you can open up the cellar later. But in this area just before we leave to go get the Civet Sergeant, you want to take down the Rat Governor. He's over here to the side near the Rock Clash platform. There's going to be a special item as well as a meditation spot over here, so you kind of can't miss it. But once you see this guy glowing in his little blue flame of glory, go ahead and take his life. He will moderately increase thunder damage and he's actually pretty decent. He's kind of A tier for me because his thunder will instantly produce a shock damage on the enemy, and when an enemy is in shock state, they take a lot of damage from all attacks, which can be very useful. If you combine him with some of your best attacks and combos, you can do some pretty amazing damage, so this is pretty A tier. but it's completely up to you if you want to synergize with this or use a different spirit altogether. Not a bad spirit in the end game though, so something to consider if you have a lightning based build or if you just want to put out a lot of burst damage. Let's move on to the next spirit though. After you've picked up the Rat Governor, you're then going to make your way over to the Rock Crest Flat Shrine, because just in front of the Sand Waterfall is going to be yet another spirit, the Spearbone. The Spearbone is pretty interesting. He, when equipped, will slightly increase damage reduction, which could be very useful because wherever you can reduce damage is always a good sign. But he's kind of lackluster when it comes to spirits in the game. He will be able to stun up your foe a little bit with his shield bash, but at the end of the day, that's kind of all he's good for. So it's up to you whether or not you want to use him or not. For me, I didn't want to waste my materials, especially in endgame when there's better options for defense, but he does get that slight increase to damage reduction. So when you feel like you're struggling in the game, in early game, he could be useful. Moving on from there, you're going to find yourself the Poisestone. The Poisestone is going to be in the exact same cave that you're going to find the Mother Stone. The Mother Stone, you're going to have to beat that down in order to get a key item to give to the Mana Stone, who becomes a secret merchant. But I digress. Go back to this cave. You're going to see this guy just standing in there. Go ahead and beat him down. It moderately increases damage of jump light attacks and reduces the stamina cost of sprinting. It's not a bad spirit, but I don't really like it. If it leaps in the air and does a little drop kick and it lands, awesome. But if it misses, yeah, it says it still does a little bit of damage to nearby foes, but I'm not a fan. There's a lot better options like Wandering Wight, for example, that just slap for a huge damage. You definitely don't want to miss, because if you miss with that huge damage, it means nothing. But I think that damage is a lot more valuable than this over here. But that's just my personal opinion. Let me know how you feel about that down in the comment section below. Have you ever used the Poisestone, and how is it? Moving on from there, let's talk about the Gored Daoist. We have 3 more in chapter 2, so let's knock them out. Mr. Daoist here is probably one of the greatest spirits in the game. This is an endgame spirit. He's very difficult to use and he has a high ceiling when it comes to use. A lot of people don't really understand how to use him, so he's just difficult to understand. And with that being said, he seems useless on paper, and he actually seems useless when you use him in certain instances, but he's definitely not. This is probably one of the easiest ways to boost your attack stat and the attack stat of all of your clones in an instant, and it can nuke some of the greatest enemies in the game instantly, so he's definitely worth your time. However, it's very strategic. You have to really be playing the long game when you lay this thing down, because it has this circumference area that if you're inside the circle, you get a boost. If you're outside the circle, he's useless. And you really have to know where you want to be on the playing field. You have to know when you want to use it, and you have to use it to your advantage. There's a lot going on with this thing, so a lot of people don't like it, and I don't blame them. But for everybody who does know how this thing works, and when they use it correctly, they can nuke the likes of Erlang. So it's pretty cool that this thing has great utility, but the ceiling and the usage is kind of niche. So yeah, I don't blame you if you don't like it. Anyways, the Gored Daoist can be found right over here near the Wind-Sealed Gate Shrine. From the shrine, you're going to come right over on this path, walk straight ahead, take down these little enemies in the way, and he's just standing over here next to this tree. That's going to be something you can gather to upgrade one of your items later on in the game. Alright, let's get back to the Civet Sergeant. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but yeah, this little guy is pretty cool, because once you go and you beat down the Stone Vanguard, you're going to use the Stone Vanguard's key item to unlock the cellar. Once you're inside the cellar, you're going to go through the entire path. There's going to be a little bit of a secret item right here. Don't miss that. Continue on. You're going to see him in there waiting for you with his friends. Go ahead and take them all out. And when you equip him, he slightly increases your attack. Pretty cool. He's not a bad spirit, but let me know if you like him or not. Personally, I think he's okay. He's decent, but the other attack stats on something like the Tiger Acolyte or once again the Wandering Wight, is a lot higher. So for me, it's kind of like, when would I use this? Not really sure, but he's okay. Finally, we have the Mad Tiger. Now, the Mad Tiger is probably one of the hardest one of these spirits to get because he's locked behind the Tiger Acolyte himself. Once you've taken down the Tiger Acolyte, you have the drum. You then want to come over to the Wind-Sealed Gate that is very close by the Gored Daoist. Once you head over there, there's going to be like this little closed off village. You're going to get a interaction to rattle the drum. Once you shake the drum a little bit, the little boy is going to talk to you. And then you're going to have to do this 2 more times in different villages across chapter 2. Another village that you're going to have to come back to is over there near the bridge in the Windrest Hamlet area. You're going to go in the reverse direction from the shrine, come right over here to the left, and in this very first area, you're going to shake the rattle drum again, and then the boy will speak to you and you'll move on. The final area is right over where you found the horse guy. Over here to the left where there's a well. If you shake the rattle drum one more time, this will be the final area. It'll lead you inside the well where you will fight the Mad Tiger. There's some pretty cool lore that's going on between the rats and the cats. So if you don't really know about it, it might not be a bad idea to take a look and get in on that lore. Personally, the Mad Tiger is not bad at all. When you equip him, he moderately increases attack, but massively reduces your maximum health. That could be a very glass cannon type build to use in the early game. End game, I would probably use a different spirit, kind of like non-able, just completely OP, gives you crit attack damage, crit hit chance, and attack, and he only reduces your mana. So I think that's a better choice coming from chapter 3. So I can't really say that Mad Tiger is that good, but if you need an option to get your attack stat up, then he's there. And that is going to be absolutely every single spirit that you can get between chapters 1 and 2 in Black Myth Wukong. If you like what I do here on the channel, make sure you smash the like button and consider subbing so that you don't miss out on any more tips, tricks, guides, and so much more for this game. I really do enjoy making these videos for you guys, so I can't wait to see you in the next one. I hope you're having a wonderful day. This is your boy M of M Sensei HD. For now though, I'm out of here.